Tell me if you can hear me. No audio, someone says. No sound. No sound. Still no sound? Still? Still. No sound. You guys keep saying no sound. We can't get you. We can hear you well. Kasante sana. Can you hear me now? We can hear you. Can you hear me now? Some are saying there's sound. Some are saying there is no sound. So which one is it? Come on, guys. Tell me. And don't mess around here. Tell me if you can hear me. Tell me. We can hear you now, sir. Thank you. Someone keeps telling. All right. Clear. That's what I want to hear. Yes, now you're clear. I think I had muted my mic. I'm still trying to work this thing out, guys. Perfect. Loud and clear. Justin, thank you. The sound is there. Thank you so much. Precious Muomo. Yes. Wonderful. Cliff, we can hear you. Wonderful. Thank you, guys. And again, thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to be with me for a few moments today. A couple of things I'd like to talk to you about. First of all, I know that in my little preamble, I talked about how we would be discussing Zambian politics and the Prodigal Son. But before I get into that, I'd like to deal with this issue here, the Kalimanchi Beating. Now, what I find interesting about today's event is that the real story of today's event over there at the PF Secretariat, the real story was the Kalimanchi Beating. Everything that happened afterwards really, truly was a form of a footnote. Because if we ignore the Kalimanchi Beating and we refuse to face the true discussion, then we are simply scratching the surface. We're not doing anybody any favors. We're not doing anybody any good. So I'd like to, before I talk about the Prodigal Son, let me talk about this beating, because the beating that people witnessed, the people that were there, very few people had the opportunity to videotape it from A up to Z. It was interrupted. It was that chaos ensued. And for those of you that have friends that went there, you know what happened. I happened to call a friend of mine who writes for Kalemba. Kalemba, as you know, is a vlog. He's a blogger. He writes articles, and he was there this morning, and he witnessed the whole thing. And basically, the gist of what happened was that Mr. Kalimanchi showed up, and he was barred, literally barred, or stopped, or attempted to be stopped by the people that were present. But Kalimanchi, being the stubborn man that he is, he forced his way into the PF premises. Now, the moment he did that, he attempted to rally the troops behind him by trying to shout the slogans to the crowd, but the crowd wasn't responding. Kalimanchi didn't know that he had walked into the lion's den. He had no idea that he was in over his head. Kalimanchi was not aware that he was in hostile territory. He thought he was amongst friends. He wasn't. He was in a quandary. He was caught between a rock and a hard place. And when his chants failed, when his political slogans, he attempted to shout those, and when they failed, they fell on deaf ears. And that is when chaos ensued. The thugs, the hooligans, descended on a despot, and they meted out what has now been termed as the beating of beatings. It's not funny because, let me tell you why it's not funny. Because what we witnessed today, or at least in part, was the beating of a thug by a group of hooligans. That's what it was. You're wrong when you think that innocent Kalimanchi is the victim. No, he's not. And we are to blame for that. When I say we, I'm talking about social media and the vlogging, blogging space. We are to blame for Kalimanchi's misguided self-importance. In his mind, because social media has angelicized him, in a sense, because social media has somehow placed him on some type of social media pedestal. In his mind, Kalimanchi was untouchable because he thought that social media was praising him and creating caricatures out of his broken English and making fun of the way he speaks. In his mind, he thought that he was the darling of the city, but really underneath it all, he walked into hostile territory and he was not spared. What I find interesting about this debacle, this debauchery, this chaotic display of buffoonery today, what I find interesting is that the police were sent to the red camp, and yet the chaos ensued in the green camp. I find that strange and curious. Is that, you know, you had a whole army, not in the literal sense, but, you know, figuratively. You had a whole battalion of law enforcement that had been sent to the red camp, and yet where they were needed the most was in the green camp. Because the green camp, for a moment, for the briefest of moments, turned into a very hostile territory. Now, guys, we are wrong when we gloss over that incident. Now, I have made it clear from the very, very beginning that, and I've written articles about this, I've always said that innocent Kalimanchi and his group are a thorn in our democratic flesh. I've always said that. I've always said that innocent and his type of people, that thuggery, that element of thuggery in our society should not be condoned, regardless of which political party it comes from. And I've always said that all Kadas are the same. I've always said that because they're all cut from the same cloth. But let's not lose sight of the fact that a brutal attack took place today, but let's not also lose sight of the fact that this was a classic case of the chickens coming home to roost. Make no mistake, Kalimanchi is not an angel. I mean, the man uses brute thuggery to get his way. The day that I realized that this man was dangerous, even though I did make fun of him in a way, was when he was released from jail. And as he was walking over to the police vehicle, he knew that the media was present, and he began to insult the sitting Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Kampyongo. And I found that so strange. I found it odd that here it is, here's a guy who really, for all intent and purposes, is only a kada. But he is insulting and he is belittling and he's speaking disparagingly of a full sitting minister of home affairs. And my immediate thought was, if he can insult the minister of home affairs and talk to the minister of home affairs as if the minister was some type of discarded junkyard canine, what more would he do to me, an average nobody citizen? That is when I realized that we have a problem. You cannot empower such people with authority and expect them to turn out okay. At some stage, they're going to turn around and bite you in the behind. I mean, I'll never, as a side note, let me tell, I've never met Mr. Kalimanchi. I've never met him. I've only seen him on social media. But the very first time I saw him was on what bridge was that? The one opposite arcades. Please tell me in the comments if you saw this, because I know there were several cars that were passing through. On the bridge, you know, the new bridge that they've commissioned and built, innocent Kalimanchi was parked on top of the bridge, and he was talking on the phone. He was stationary on the bridge as cars were zooming past him and shooting past him. And I looked, and I could see that he just simply stopped for the sake of stopping. And he stopped there to be seen. The car, there was nothing wrong with this car. In fact, he didn't even put on his hazards. He just stopped on the bridge. Now, everybody knows when you're driving along the bridge, your car cannot be stationary unless there's something wrong with it. It's a different story if your car is broken down. But if you've just stopped for the sake of stopping and you're answering the phone and you're talking on the phone, you don't even put your hazards on, what that told me was, well, he thinks he's above the law. He thinks he can do anything, go anywhere, talk any way he wants to. He's just footloose and fancy free. And he's answerable to no one. That's the aura I got from his vehicle stopping. My point is this: when you have people like that who think the rules don't apply to them, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. And what happened today, and I want to be delicate with what I'm saying, because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but let me be clear. What happened today to Mr. Kalimanchi was simply a case of the chickens coming home to roost. He reaped what he sowed. When you sow violence, you will reap violence. When you sow dissension and division, you will reap dissension and division. When you sow chaos, you will reap chaos. That's just how it is. And so today, and a big thank you to Mr. Kennedy Kamba, because apparently Mr. Kamba was the only lifeline between Kalimanchi's death and his survival. But again, that's saying something, because the people that were there said that Mr. Kamba kept on shouting and kept on yelling, "Stop, stop, stop." Nobody was stopping. That's telling you something, because if these, you see, this is the thing with thugs, whichever color they wear, these people that we refer to as kadas, regardless of what color they wear. When you get to a point where they don't listen to authority, rebellion against authority is the order of the day for them. Yes, they pretend. They say, no, Jombo Yarira, Commander. They pretend, but the truth is, when they are hell-bent on violence, nobody can stop them. They are a law unto themselves in that situation. And I know how when they get frenzied, I know that. I've seen it, I've witnessed it, especially when they're in a group. Anytime you get kadas in a group, youngsters who call themselves katnanshapo naba baila naba pepa naba noa ili no mu ili bayoko baba tumoko bwana ni chaos ngaba pepa mofe ba baila na noa na fika na ifika no mu ili ba tinomba kabiye bwana. It doesn't matter how many orders you give, they never listen. They never stand up at attention and say, oh, walelanda babosi kutabomfwa tabachumfwa. Ni chaos. Bafwa. And I said all of that to say this. God bless Wakamba for trying to contain the situation. But the truth is, Wakamba tried, but in the end, Kalimanchi was still beaten to a pulp. Of course, that's not something we celebrate. I mean, we're not animals. We don't celebrate the misfortune of another person. But I will say this: everything that has happened to him today, he has done many multiple times to other people, many people, many people, and that's not a hidden truth. It's an open fact. So he simply got what he sowed. Now, let me get back to this issue. You know, there's a story in the book of Luke, the 15th chapter. It talks about Jesus told the parable of the two sons. It's also referred to as the parable of the prodigal son. You know, the youngest son decided to tell his father that he wanted his inheritance and that he was going to go out and live his own life as a man. And so the father did what a good father would do, gave him his inheritance. The young man, the Bible says, the young man went off into a far country. And when he had spent everything, and severe famine arose in that country, and he began to be in need. I mean, you could stop right there and preach a whole sermon. When he began to be in need, he began to reassess where he was as a person. What am I doing here? And then all of a sudden, he had an epiphany. The young prodigal son was sitting in the pig pen. He was eating what the pigs were eating. And then all of a sudden it came to him and said, why can't I go to my father's house? In my father's house are many mansions, and if it were not so, he would have told me. Why am I sitting here in squalor, in abject poverty? The young son had an epiphany. You know what an epiphany is? An epiphany is a moment of sudden and great revelation or realization. The Word of God says, and I love it when it says this. It says, but when he came to himself, I started to realize. I'm going to get up out of this pig pen. I'm going to my father's house. Now, let's be clear. The parable of the prodigal son is the story of redemption. But Zambian politics oftentimes is the story of self-preservation. I want you to get that. I want that to sink in your spirit. Let me say it again. Let me throw it up here so that you can see it. Here we go. The parable of the prodigal son is a story about redemption, but Zambian politics is often about self-preservation. And what we witness today was exactly that. Don't get me wrong, Mr. Kambwili and I are friends, and I like him. I like him a lot. Anytime I see him, I meet him, he's a very respectful man. He's a cordial man, very likable, very amiable man, and a great conversationalist, and also a fantastic politician. When he's standing in front of a crowd and he's addressing a crowd, you know that you're looking at someone that knows what he's doing on the campaign trail. But I cannot help but think that Zambian politics oftentimes is about self-preservation. And I don't think that's always the right way to go. However, let me add a caveat to that. However, whenever you've got a family, especially, when you're married, you got kids, you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to weigh your options. And sometimes you have to do what's best for the family, to preserve your family. And I think that to some degree, my brother moved in that direction, rightly or wrongly, judge him or not. That's part of the reason. Very seldom do you have a situation where a politician, especially in the Zambian context, does things for the sake of the good of the nation. Of course, they say that they do. But underneath it all, it's about self-preservation. It's the instinct to survive, fight or flight. Have you heard this? Whenever you're in danger, you either stand your ground and you fight it out, or you flee to get away from the danger. So today, I want to ask you, what do you guys think of what happened? 2 questions today. What do you think about the Kalimanchi beating? What's your view on that? And secondly, what do you think about Vakambwili's return to the Patriotic Front? Tell me in the comments below. If you'd like to give me a call, you can do that. We receive calls here now, Excuse me. I just burped straight into the microphone. That's terrible. That is terrible. 491. You can call me here if you want, and let's have a conversation about it. Call me on that number and tell me what you think about those 2 issues, Kalimanchi's beating and Vakambwili's return to the Patriotic Front. Tell me what you think. All right, let's read a couple comments here. Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can get you loud and clear.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. This is Jimmy Smonga from Kanyama.
Yes, sir. Vajimia Chanyuko. Kwa Kanyama.
tiri bwino iseka imwe muri bwanju.
Afa tulivyo bwino.
Zikomo kwambiri. Choyamba ni chakuti naona kwa monga I want to be honest with you. Yeah, in as much as your counsel is welcome, but it's like you have become somehow biased towards Kalimanchi. Those two camps, both of them, they leave much to be desired where our country is concerned, because this is a battle that is started way back. But if they are not controlled this time around, we don't know where our country is going. Then number two is on the issue of our father, Mr. Kambwili. I want to appeal to my fellow youth, us who are trying by all means to grow to be politicians. I don't give respect to a politician who happen to defect for the sake of a belly. No. We need politicians that are going to stand for the Zambian people. Mr. Chambala, Zambian people are suffering. And if you are to ask a friend who is in PS just because they eat it and every day, they will tell you that it's into Felicia we know. Mr. Chambala, a 2 kg sugar this time around is 46 kwacha. An egg is 3 kwacha, and someone is saying into Felicia we know. So we need people that are acting to help the Zambian people, like you are doing there, Mr. Kitambala. Mr. Kitambala, I want to be honest with you. You are one of the best men in Zambia who have helped a lot of people. I follow you in each and every interview that you make. And I want to say openly, big man, may God bless you. How I wish we could have only 5 of you in Zambia.
Well,
you are alone. You are alone. That I want to be honest with you.
Well, that's kind of you. Thank you.
I really, when I look at you seriously, I feel so good in whatever you are doing. I remember sometimes you were giving money to those women that are, that are there, down there, helping them, empowering them. Sure, if we can have only 5 or maybe 2 of you, then our Zambia is going to be great. Thank you. May God continue adding more years.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Bless you. Thank you for that call. Thank you. Thank you. So Joseph says, if those thugs could behave in that manner at the Secretariat, how will it be in August? Here's another question for you, because these are 2 separate camps from the same group. If they can treat their own in that way, because Innocent identifies with the Greens, if they can treat their own that way, beat their own within an inch of their life, what more an outsider or someone they perceive to be an outsider? And the caller, the previous call, the caller we just had is right. If this violence, the violence that we witnessed today, or the journalists that were present witnessed today at the Secretariat, if the violence that they witnessed today is anything to go by, and you had a situation where the police were basically not doing anything to protect Kalimanchi, it's cause for concern. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
A very good afternoon to you. Who are we speaking with?
This is Patrick.
Well, Patrick.
From Kolwezi.
Mkwai.
What we witnessed today was very unfortunate. We do not understand why the police turn a blind eye to the thuggerism and violence of PF. Their policing is selective.
I agree with that.
And if they let it continue to generate at this pace, in August, it will be chaos. They have to rein in these cadres and keep everyone safe. If they do not rein these cadres in, the violence will spread throughout the country and all of us will be in trouble. Partisan, non-partisan. So we urge the patriotic front to take in interest and help bring the situation under control. If they can behave like that at the secretariat, wondering what would happen in August. We need peace.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bless you.
Sure.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, you know, whenever you see a situation where young thugs are taking the law into their own hands on someone that identifies with them, what more someone that doesn't identify with them? Hello.
Mr. Chitambala, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, sir. Who are we speaking with?
This is Kelvin from Livingston.
Kelvin Mulishan.
This is one of boss Marishan.
I'm quite if you know. I back Chani Kelvin, I chan you call.
Are you still live?
Yes, sir. We're live right now.
Okay, that's good. Now, I had a contribution to make.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
As private citizens, mostly, I think most people don't really care what camp people are coming from. But I think now it's really a mess when you see what is happening because, first of all, take it like this. Citizens are very scared. Huh? They don't want to speak out. Huh? Why? Because even the very person who's in charge is not speaking out. How do you expect anybody to speak out?
I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. And I've never liked that idea. I've never liked that idea of the head of state sometimes keeping quiet when something like this happens. He has to address it. I agree with you on that.
At the end of the day, in every society, in every company, there's a head. It's like a household. You watch your children fight and you take a step back. What do you expect to happen?
It'll escalate. The chaos will escalate.
At some point, you need to say something. We look up to the big man, but the big man is not saying anything.
Mm.
We have, without due respect, may I respect my president, without due respect, but if he could just say one thing towards the same, all this violence would end.
Mm.
But he's going to be a viewer like everybody else. It will be chaos.
Mm. I agree with that.
Serious chaos.
I agree with that.
No, if those guys can fight like that.
Kumiavo,
Yeah.
on their ground. What more? Papan's Palumumba road yap.
Oh. Somebody needs to take hold. Somebody needs to come. Somebody needs to stand up and say, this is wrong.
Mm. I agree.
And as long as nobody says this is wrong, it will continue like that.
Mm. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your call.
It's wise.
God bless.
It's wise. God bless.
Thank you. And that's the cry of many Zambians. Many of us that are out here in the open. That is our cry. You know, honestly, really. And just like you said, and you could hear it in the tone of his voice. I mean, here's a guy, he's a Zambian citizen who loves his country. He loves the president. But all he's saying is address it. Don't gloss over it. Don't pretend it doesn't exist. Don't make it sound or look like it's not there, that it's some type of illusion or apparition. It's a clear and present danger, and it has to be addressed. Hello, you're live.
Yes, hi. How are you, Mr. Samuel?
I'm fine. Who am I speaking with, sir?
This is Gisham calling from Solwezi.
Yes, sir. How's Solwezi today?
Solwezi is pretty fine.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to see what is happening with Mr.
Yes.
This thing that is happening now, it's more of the dramatic change of events that are like before.
Oh, your line is bad. You probably need to try and call me back. but I get the gist of what he's saying. Today's event at the Secretariat is a microcosm of what is to come if it's not controlled and contained. Make no mistake, if we pretend that this wasn't a big deal, if we address it like it's just it's like a little tiff between two toddlers, then you have your head in the clouds or your head in the sand. This is a clear and present danger. What happened at the Secretariat today is a precursor to what could potentially happen in the future if this situation is not contained. Hello, you're live.
Hello, Mr. Moira, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Who am I speaking with, sir?
You're speaking to Mike from Mongo.
From Mongo. How's Mongo today?
Mongo is okay.
Mkwaye, please go ahead.
My take on the innocent Kalimanchi saga.
Yes, sir.
To begin with, I must say that violence is repugnant. To perpetrate violence is not acceptable in this day and age. Regardless of whatever innocent might have done, whether we see him as deserving or undeserving, to simply have a group of people beat up any human being in this country should not be tolerated.
Yes, sir.
Hello, are you getting me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so I was saying that violence should not be in any way tolerated or condoned. It is so surprising that if innocent is deserving of some discipline, that the Greens, as you call them, the only way they can handle him is to beat him up. That is truly a failing system altogether. I think this is really sad that we are still at that level. I'm saddened by this whole scenario.
I agree with you. And before you go, sir,
yeah,
I agree with you. And what's saddening is that today, we're talking about beating.
Yeah.
By August, it'll be about killing.
Yeah, that is what is saddening.
Yeah.
You see, if you're right. You're right.
Because violence gets worse. Today they'll beat someone. Tomorrow they will kill someone.
Yeah, we could be headed right in that direction, especially that August is fast approaching. So we don't know who the next person who will be beaten the next, and we do not know what will happen when we now meet at in the ballot box. We really do not know. We cannot tell.
Yeah.
But this is not a good sign. This is not a good sign. I think we need to rethink policing in our country. Because it leaves me wondering whether I'm safe with this sort of indifference, police indifference. Because I think I can only call this as indifference.
I agree. It's cause for concern. Thank you so much, sir, from Mongo.
Thank you.
Cheers. And it is worrisome. And the other thing that just gets me. What gets me is you will hear the IG, Inspector General of Police, he says very clearly, they will not tolerate foolishness. The police are not going to stand on the sidelines and watch chaos ensue. They will step in with a heavy hand. But then you see things like that. It makes you wonder, are we paying lip service? Or are we grabbing the bull by the horns? Hello, you're live.
Hello. Good afternoon, Mr. Moyo.
Very good afternoon to you, sir.
Yeah, this is Ndumba speaking.
Where are you calling us from, sir?
Foxdale.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right. I just wanted to say thank you to you. I really appreciate the good work that you are doing.
Well, thank you.
Indeed, you are a leader. You are a leader of this nation. You are doing what others
don't say that too loud.
Done.
Goodness. Well, thank you.
That's honest. That's honest.
Okay.
I would just want to say thank you for calling a spade and a shovel a shovel. You've been preaching peace and opening our eyes to see exactly where the country is leading to, and talking of these guys that have got a bad behavior towards the nation, tarnishing the nation. I really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
May
sir.
God richly bless you. Thank you so much.
Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
Bye-bye. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
And again, you know, one of the things that I think we make a mistake. We are sadly mistaken when we pay lip service to this. So when we dismiss this incident as, oh, well, we'll reconcile them. No, this is a big problem. Hello there. You're live.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Moyo.
Very good afternoon to you, sir. Who am I speaking with?
Yeah, this is Joe calling from Kabwe.
Yes, sir. Joe, go ahead.
Sure. My take on the Kalimanchi situation, I think they are the one to blame.
They who?
Me, I blame them too. Because Kalimanchi is the enemy to another Bakakian.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kalimanchi was in the tutelage of Mr. Kambwili. So Kalimanchi was live some few days ago, saying at the Dev commander, you want to fight us when you come here. So these guys, they're in two groups in one camp, subdivided.
Yes.
So that violence is internal. They are the ones. I would say their top leaders are the ones submerging those problems.
I agree.
They are using themselves to say, can you fight this one? Kalimanchi is an enemy. Within one camp, Kalimanchi is an enemy to certain officials. So there are two groups here. So with me, we expect more in August.
Thank you for your call, sir. I agree with you.
Yeah, we expect more in August between the ruling party and the opposition. So this sign, if the leaders, if the president, the Home Affairs Minister, the police are quiet. So far today, they have surrounded the UPND.
Honestly, which I find so strange, is that they would send a battalion to the red camp, and yet chaos ensued in the green camp.
They have left the victims. They have gone there to attack, to officially open an office for the youth. They have gone there to surround innocent people, leaving the victims behind are busy injuring. We don't know if Kalimanchi can die or he can live. It's between death and life. But busy attacking people who are innocent, doing the progress for the country, leaving the victims, civil war behind. Are we really working? Who is supposed to be protected between the UPND opening the office or the PF? These are the consequences. Who is the causer? Kambwili has gone back. If it wasn't Kambwili, all this would have been there. So you can see that the kind of working, I don't know, it's barbaric. I don't know which term you can use.
It is. It's barbaric. It's chaotic. It's got a Neanderthal tone to it. It's chaos, and the only people who can contain this is the leadership.
That's the thing. But
leadership
have gone under carpet. They are quite easy. They are innocent, but who are the engineers? It's themselves.
Sir, thank you for your call.
The lawlessness has gone beyond under the carpet.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And it should be contained.
Because if the leadership are quiet, where are the police? These days, the police have no respect, but the cadre is more respected.
You know, sir, I must be honest with you. That makes me bleed more than anything else. That a person in regalia has more power than a person in a police commissioned government uniform.
That is the situation which we have now in Zambia.
Iyo yeneyo tairi bwino na irubaneyo iyo bayifumyepo teti umuntu ufwele regalia akwete more power than the uniform of a police officer. Nonsense.
If you take a walk, go and check where the UPND wants to open the office. These vehicles they brought, these vehicles from China, these retired vehicles they brought. Go how they have lined up, attacking innocent and harmless people.
No, that's not.
And go and check what is happening to their upstairs security secretariat.
No, it's not right.
Where should we take the police?
No, it's not right. This has to be fixed. It has to be. This has to be.
The police IG is quiet. The president, I don't know people who advises the president. I don't know. He's quiet. You can't say anyway.
Sir, thank you for your call.
Within his bedroom, people are fighting. He's failing to control his own subordinate.
It's not right. It's not right, and it has to be. It has to be healed. The situation has to be healed. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really it's amazing, you know, that the police give lip service, and it shouldn't be that way. The police should do their job. I should feel protected on the street. I'm going to tell you a story after this phone call. I'm going to tell you a story. It's going to shock you. It's going to amaze you. True story. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You're live.
Yes. Calling from Kalomo.
From Kalomo. Ushafilishani uko ku Kalomo koshani uko. Mkwaye, please go ahead. Who am I speaking with, sir?
Yes, this is Gideon Makuyu.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to appreciate, I think I've been following the topic. Yeah, really what has happened, that was not so good. The UPND were just trying to open up an office, and yet what has happened is their own camp, there's been a bloodshed. So we don't know what will happen, because this is a bad sign in the next 90 days of election.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And it's cause for concern.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bless you. Bless you. All we're saying is let the police do their job. Protect our citizens. Protect Zambians. Don't protect party loyalists from whichever party, whether it's the red, blue, green, whichever. Protect Zambians. Yes, sir. Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
This is in Charles calling from Dola.
From Dola. Kulishani kukopala.
Kopala kulike bwinumdala.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
I just want to air my views on these happening.
Please go ahead.
Yes. I think the biggest problem is letting what has been breeding for a long time, to let it breed. Because these intra-party wrangles have gone wrong for a long time. So, these people, they knew that what was going to happen was going to happen. Whenever there's a function, soon the people are supposed to come to the function, and they just let it like that. And instead, innocent people got injured. So it is very sad. It's very sad.
It is.
I think the biggest problem is that something has to do with leadership. And the same leadership, like the political setup of Zambia is, one honorable can have different followers. Also,
Yes.
this other person can also different followers. So in the same camp, the same PF camp, the Secretary General has got followers.
Yes.
The Vice Secretary General has got followers. And sometimes these people can clash. And it's very difficult to control them. I think that's where the problem is.
And the biggest problem is also defining the political spectrum with the same followers. Like someone who doesn't have followers doesn't have power. I submit.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for that. Everything, I've just put in one of the comments there, everything rises and falls with leadership. John Maxwell said that. Everything rises and falls with leadership. This is a situation that the leadership has to grab by the horns. I mean, when you've got a situation, well, God bless him. God bless Kennedy Kamba for saving Kalimanchi's life. Because had he not stepped in, he would have been killed. But the point is, Kennedy Kamba, Punda, he was shouting, stop it, stop it. But the group was not listening. That's wrong. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, thank you so much for calling. I'm so glad it's a lady this time.
Hello, Mr. Mwewa. This is Mary calling from Norway. And
from Norway?
I just want to, yeah.
Wow, how's Norway? Is it cold over there?
No, it's actually, we are getting into the summer now. It's May, so it's going into the summer.
Wow, what's your name?
My name is Mary Tizanji Pedersen.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary, for calling. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, firstly, I just want to thank you for updating us here in the diaspora because you have given us a platform to see what's going on back home. So I just want to thank you for that and that you should continue with that.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I'm really worried about what's going on back home in Zambia. I'm worried because I have family there. And like the cadres that we see all over, you know, in the streets, it's really becoming like a worrisome thing that something can happen in Zambia. So I hope that this can get under control so that we don't get into that kind of situation whereby there is a civil war in Zambia. So, but I hope that you can keep us updated because you seem to be the only news channel that's reliable and bringing us all that's going on back home. So,
well, thank you. There are many,
up.
but thank you for that compliment. There are many, but thanks for the compliment. Thank you, Mary, and we wish you all the best.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. I'm going to tell you a story, guys, about cadres and the violence that they perpetrate. Let me first of all turn this off. Guys, and this is not a secret, okay? So I'm not divulging something that he didn't share. He shared it on my, there's one time I was interviewing the mayor, Miles Sampa. And he said on the show, he said something that really concerned me. He said, well, do you realize, do you know why I sometimes don't go to these functions? As the mayor, I'm supposed to be there, but do you know sometimes why I choose not to go? Especially where I know that they're going to be cadres, is because cadres, in the presence, hold on, let me just turn this off for a second here. I'll turn the phone lines back on. He said, the reason I don't go to these functions, especially when I know that it's going to be full of cadres, he said that a cadre is more powerful than a police officer with a gun. A cadre will beat you in front of a police officer, and the cop is standing there with a gun, and the cop won't do anything. The mayor said to me, well, I've been ambushed twice by cadres, and it's not pretty. And he said, and I'm the mayor of the city. I'm mayor, man. Who are you? You're just a citizen, but I'm the mayor, and I've been ambushed by cadres twice. The second time was so severe, I really thought this was it. Now, that's the mayor of the city of Lusaka talking like that. That tells you there's a problem. And the only ones that can fix it are the leadership, the top brass in the leadership. The only ones that can alter this mess, the only ones that can glue this chaos back together again is the leadership. But if the leadership stands aloof, if the leadership stands on the sidelines, if the leadership leaves it up to their own devices, if the leadership are mute and they don't say anything, that is a problem. That is a problem. All right. I'm just going to get this phone call here real quick. Let me just reconnect. You can call me on this number here. All right, we're ready. Sorry about that. Go ahead. You can call me now on that number. Hello, you're live.
Yes, Mr. Moore. Good afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you, sir. Who am I speaking with?
You are speaking to Alexandra.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. So I think what's going on in our country shouldn't be tolerated by anyone. Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. We can hear you.
Hello?
Oh, the line dropped. Please go ahead and call me. Again, guys, let's not dismiss this incident today as a tiff between two disagreeing parties. Hello, you're live.
Hi, Simon. This is Kennedy on the line.
Hello, Mark Kennedy. You're live on SML.
Thank you so much. I've made it finally. I've spoken to Simon.
Wonderful.
Anyway, back to the
You're welcome.
Back to the topic. Thank you. Simon, this issue of Kadarism, it's out of hand. I remember sometime back in 2013, there was a by-election in Katuba. And I was driving from the Chieftainess Mungule's palace, and I was attacked, and my vehicle was destroyed. And I wasn't even in a political mood or supporting anybody, but I was found in a fracas, and I learned something out of that. Secondly, what I've come to see is that most of these people in power, the politicians, are the ones who are sponsoring these political cartels. Because it's like Zambia is becoming another Colombia, the type of Pablo Escobar, whereby we had the Madini cartel, the Cali cartel, the Judy Monica, and the like. This is where we are heading to. Because even if in the ruling party, in the Greens, we have got MPs and ministers who are sponsoring chaos. You see? When we go to the Reds again, we have got people who are sponsoring chaos. They have got their own people who are following them. They are giving them money to cause havoc to the innocent citizens. And what I'm foreseeing is that immediately this guy, Kalimanchi, here that will be out. But if you get to look at it, I remember last time when you had a broadcast about him, when you are saying that if he has made a name and he has created a following, which is like a kind of a militia. If it's not curtailed properly, this thing it will brew into something else.
Oh, absolutely.
But nobody listen to you. And I'm foreseeing when he's released from the cells, the campaigns start due to this thing which has happened. To tell me what will happen to Kennedy Kamba. And it will be disaster, my brother.
Yeah.
It will be disaster. It will be.
Yeah.
The only person who can stop this is the president.
Yes.
He has to come in. If it's sending the military, we have got the first one commando, they can send them automatically. If you remember the time of cholera, they sent in the army and the city was quiet and clean. Even this time around, to stop the Kadarism and the junks and the like, it just has to bring in the soldiers, the military. Since the police are scared, because of that issue which happened in Sesheke of that Shapi being fired. So the police cannot act because everyone is scared of, I'll lose my job. But immediately you bring in the military, everyone fears the military. No one can even cause havoc and the like will be at peace. But if we can't do that, the president can't think into that and tell his ministers and MPs and members to stop funding these small groupings, which at the end of the day, they bring up cartels like Colombia. We are another Colombia and Zambia.
I agree.
Have a blessed day, my brother.
I agree with you, brother. Thank you so much. It's a big problem, you know, and it has to be dealt with by the top brass leadership. The leadership is they're the only ones that can deal with this issue. If you let it go and think that it's inconsequential, chaos. Hello? Yes, sir. Oh, somebody, they were going to talk, but I guess they changed their mind. All right, here we go. Hello, you're live.
I'm back, Joe from Kawi.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Sure. These problems, we can talk day and night. We will not find the solution from the outside picture. Let the PF, the president, come in to resolve these issues. PF are the solution to these problems, are the source of these problems.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
They are violent ministers. In fact, one thing according to my own analysis, there is too much money in PF, not in the country, but in PF, which is causing this violence. We are seeing people don't do this violence from their thinking. They are being driven like the water is flowing. It will be being driven by that water to any direction. This is the fracas we are seeing in this country, in PF, in particular PF, because the fight is internal. So people of Zambia should be alert of what will happen because the violence is more and more cannibal. There is the money is flowing within to PF. So you see, those guys who are beaten Kalimanchi, at the end of the day, they'll be paid.
Say that last part again. At the end of the day, they'll be.
At the end of those guys who has beaten Kalimanchi, you find that at the end of the day, they are working for something. They can't just go there for mahala. Never. So out of money, we are losing lives. Kalimanchi is a Zambian, very innocent, as his name says so. A Zambian.
Well, I wouldn't call him innocent. I wouldn't say he's an innocent guy, you know. But I hear what you're saying. Go ahead, sir. Make your point.
Yeah. So we can talk and talk and talk and talk. If the PF leadership themselves, the source of the problem, the solution of the problem, don't sit down as the head of the party, the Republican President, Dr. Edgar Chagwalun, do not come in to say, I'm commanding this, I'm commanding this. The violence, his subordinates are the most violent, are the ones violating. Those guys who are beating, they are innocent, but they are being sentenced. Can you do this? Can you do this? But police, you see, the police, they have no way. But police can't go there. We've seen an MP where he's pointing fingers on the police officers. We've seen those videos. We've seen where cadres entering police, slapping police officers. But this time they are walking freely. Let the opposition open the office. They are being sent armed force, armed riot, but attacking innocent people. I think the leadership, PF leadership, Secretary General Davidson, please come in to rescue this matter. Otherwise, there is too much chaos. I'm worried. Up to August 12th. Hey, I don't know.
Thank you so much, sir. We share your concern. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And you know, here it is. And I keep saying, to go back to the story that the mayor was telling me, I mean, literally, it sent chills down my spine when the mayor said, a kada in regalia is more powerful than a police officer in uniform with a gun. That ought not to be mentioned amongst us. All right, here it is. Here it is. All right. You're live. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mohammed.
Mkwaye. Ni mwaba ni mkwaye.
Niba Deriki aba kuchingola.
Mkwaye kulishani kuchingola.
Kuchingola kwa mtende kati shimwe.
Awe kuno kwa chiba kwa kachongo pa no, but na bachita contain for now.
Twatotera pantu na kapo.
Mkwaye.
Mkwaye. Na chifwayo kusanisha pona ine.
Mkwaye.
Mkwaye.
Go ahead, sir.
Kulingana okulolesha kwandi nangu okunfa kwandi ndemona kwati ba PF n'abakwata uwasya kulosha kundalama bale ngufa mkwai
Ture ngufa mkwai loud and clear
mkwai uwasya pamulando mendalama tabeshibe sya kushibonse ndalama shimiro mwabo lero tabeshibe sya kushibonse lero mbasi shishire ndalama bale bonse mu mubi bapere kwa abantu babenga shibonse ko bwino lero kabiri kadalizi mu PF na ichilamo ngakati wa president tabengiremo ichaloko chile ya nikububi so ba president ikukibaisha okutwafa no kubwisho bwasi kubika pofena ba SG pamonga ba Mira Davis na totela mkwai
I'm quite totela. Thank you so much.
Yeah, mkwai.
Look at this comment here. Chisanga Mwembe says, cadres are becoming so powerful. Where's Eagle One? That's a good question. Okay, we're going to take 2 more phone calls and that's it. And we're going to close the show. Hello, you're live. Hello.
Hello. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you. Please, go ahead. You're live.
Yes. Sir, what's going on in our country? We are really scared, especially as you, because this violence that is going on in our country. We haven't even reached the 11th August. But it's happening like this. And what is this violence going to give birth to?
Okay, we dropped that phone call. Dropped. Mwenya says, being a woman, I'm concerned a lot. How safe are we? Mwenya, that's a very good question. Hello, you're live.
Hello, yeah, good evening.
A very good well, it's it is evening over here. How are you, sir? Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Dubai, but I would rather not say my name.
Sure, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm more concerned about yourself. I've seen that you are covering issues objectively, but then looking at the situation where we are living in a dispensation where there are sacred cows and the cows that are not sacred. So I'm worried that if maybe you continue on this path, some cadres might visit you as well. Yeah, I've seen your objectivity is very much appreciated. We are learning a lot from what we are seeing, what you are covering. But as you have said about Pachishimba Kambwiri going back to PF for the sake of his family, would you not also consider your family as you do whatever you are doing. Your job is commendable. You are doing a very good job, but I'm more concerned about your welfare than anything else. That's all I wanted to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Bless you. And I appreciate that. I really do. Here's my position on that. This is a topical issue. And as vloggers, what you do is that you take a topical issue and you talk about it. Here we go. Yes, sir. Sorry for assuming it's a man. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir. It is a man.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me? We can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Mwewa,
Yes.
I'm wondering, do we have leadership in Zambia?
Yes, we do. They just need to deal with the issue. The leadership is there, but they need to do something about it.
I think we are too humble to be leaders. Why I say so is, there is no way we can have lawlessness the way it is. I think we need soldiers. These cadres need to be taught something. Today's PF this, tomorrow's PF that. What type of party is this one? You know, it is disgraceful to see in the media, everybody's looking at us. We don't have manners. I don't know whether our leader is going to speak about this. Every time the fracas happens, our president is quiet. Why? Anyway, may God help our country.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Bless you. Bless you. Listen to this here. Everest Bessa says, I hear 2 innocent journalists were injured during the fracas. Top leadership need to tame their cadres. All leaders of all political parties need to contain their cadres. All of them. Hello, you're live.
Yes, Mshangwa.
Mkwai.
Yes,
Oh, please, you need to speak up, and I think you've got some music.
Calling from Chingola.
Are you playing music somewhere? You need to turn it down or step outside.
I'm in a bus.
Oh.
Yes,
Could you, Vamdenda, ask the bus driver to turn down the volume? Or uyo conductor yomwebeni ati achefye ko volume. Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, what I would like to share, I'm just deeply saddened with the dramatic events that are occurring, especially today, what has happened. Really, really saddened by these so-called despots, which are trying to drive our country into rampage. This kind of confusion, if it is not being addressed as soon as possible, I think the entire country will be at chaos.
Yes.
Yes. And these our people who are in authority, they need to step in. In fact, as soon as possible. The moment they don't step in, everybody will think that the power should be in their hands, and
yes.
It's not healthy for our country. And every meaningful Zambian will stand against what is happening. This Zambia has a record of having peace since the beginning of our independence, and this thing should be consistent. Now, this propensity that we are witnessing right now, it will drive our country way back, not only with violence, but economic-wise, it will be in confusion. You can't make business in an environment that is not conducive for business. So they really need to step in, because I'm seeing the next Colombia if we are not careful. And it will be more of a totalitarian kind of leadership. We are going to condemn it if they are not going to sort these people out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your contribution.
Right. Thank you.
And I agree with that. I do. I think that the leadership, honestly, we're in the 11th hour. We really are. And as we stand on the precipice of this year's elections, if the authorities and the leadership, if they don't control this situation, it'll be completely out of control. And I'm not trying to be an alarmist. I'm
Hello,
telling you the truth. Hello, sir.
Yes, how are you?
I'm well. Who's speaking, sir?
This is Victor. I'm following your program well, so I've been waiting for my chance as well.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Victor.
Traveling, okay. Usually I've been checking what really is happening with the situation on the ground concerning the program that PF had today. And looking at the video, it's really scary, whereby people are being allowed to move around with things that are able to harm their fellow citizens. Now, what is going to happen to the vulnerable citizens, people that need protection, from our police forces? Because if the police forces are not stepping up the game, and where is Mr. Kamchongo, by the way? These are the cases that he has to deal with. You see? This is why he has to assign his people at. He has been put there to look after the citizens. And innocent Kalimanchi, so to say, he is a citizen as well. He's a Zambian citizen who needs protection. So I'm really concerned with the vulnerable Zambians that are on the ground. We are heading into election time. Okay? These are the times where if this is not addressed by the head of state himself, we are not going to have a conducive environment to operate, because like this, I'm telling you, Mr. Mua, it's going to be, as it is right now, people feel like it's just a laughing matter. But tell me, if this continues, you see that it's going to end up being bloody.
Yes.
And that's really, really, really dangerous for a country. I've heard people saying it can be a second Colombia if they're not careful with this. This is how it starts. Fagally, if it's going to be tolerated like this, the forces are not going to, pay attention to it, then it's going to lead this country into a hell bloody mess.
I agree with that. I agree.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bless you. Let's read this comment here. Norman says, the president seems to be happy with this chaos because it sends a chill in the citizens. I have to read this. This is a dress rehearsal for violence, August the 12th, 2021. I disagree with that. I disagree that the president is happy. I don't believe in that. I think that the president needs to be more proactive with this issue, but I don't think that he's happy with it. Not at all. Okay. Hello, you're live.
Yeah, Mr. Mel, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you? Who am I speaking with?
Mwamba calling from Ndola.
Vamwambanga kulishani uko kukopala.
Kulisa bueno.
Mkwaye.
Yeah, Mr. Mwewa.
Mkwaye.
I just want to add a voice on these issues about the fracas what happened this morning at the Kuriwa PF.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. What is happening is that tafiri kuno Mr. Mwewa ukula ndafiri chachine tafiri kuino efintu nga bafirekerera ba PF iche bali nokuleta confusion hivi sana cause nomba batampo okulwa beka mwansha Mr. Mwewa te
Mkwaye.
So nomba ba PF abe nefie beka fi mukampu ya mafile ba posa kwa amano control the situation because amakadas they have taken advantage every situation nomba yakwatina abantu batampo kupo mwenso makadazi bakwatisha makamisa mwewa bakwata maka police bamupenda inonshita. Thank you, Mr. Mwewa.
Bless you. Thank you for your contribution.
Yes.
And this is, and I agree with that because I agree with the fact that Kadas seem to have more power than a police officer. kapokola mu uniform. Tatwale angala na ba kapokola ifweyo. Kapokola mu uniform. Takwaba. Respect the uniform. Na pamenso tatwale ba mona pamenso ba kapokola. Twale mona uniform. Uniform alelanda. Number, you got these jamokes. An officer, 9 minutes in a uniform, name footy. And you got these jokers who look at a police officer like a junkyard dog. Why? Nonsense. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Samuel.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make the contribution to the topic I was following.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Mr. Samuel, what is happening in Zambia is that Mr. Edgar Tagwalungu has legitimacy and power, of which it is threatening the opposition party. So the cadres for PF, they are becoming too powerful in the sense that they are destroying everything in this country, which is very bad. Just yesterday, they were making a lot of noise in Cairo, destroying people's small scale retailers. They were being destroyed in terms of what they were selling. These people sell bananas on their wheelbarrows. It was very bad. I was very touched, and I was like, no. The PF cadres are becoming so powerful in the sense that they need to be stopped.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that cadres are the same regardless of what color they wear? Because I believe that. I believe all cadres. What we should be dealing with now in Zambia is that we need to redefine the role of a cadre, regardless of which political party they come from, because the cadre has now become a thorn in the flesh of our peace and democracy. What do you think?
I feel like for example, the cadres have been existing since day one, since we got independence. But the cadres for PF, they have become too violent to the ordinary citizens of Zambia like us, in the sense that when we meet them, they want to fight us, especially when they know to say you are in support of the opposition party, the UPND. You can't stand a chance. If they
but now MMD your body.
No, it was better because I remember during the MMD, during Rupia Bwezanbanda, I don't think it was as bad as this, Mr. Samuel. So the PF cadres, they have become too powerful. They need to be controlled. And the reason why it is because the opposition party, which is the party for Akainde Ichilema, these guys, they are proving to say they are strong. So these people, they are scared. They are trying to shut down all these people. This is why they are violating everything that we stand for as Zambians. I think they just need to be stopped. The president has to come in this issue and at least do something about it.
I agree that the president has to do that. The president really has to step in and address the issue. Thank you so much, brother. God bless you. Okay. Cadreism, whether ruling party or opposition party, we need to do away with it. Well, the truth is the cadre has a role. Regardless of which political party they come from, they do play a very significant role, but their role has to be defined. Currently, a cadre can do anything they want. I mean, right now, I see cadres that drive around in cars. All they do is take a chitenge and put it on the dashboard, and he can commit all the traffic violations. Nobody will say anything to him. That's wrong. That's lawlessness. So the cadre has to be redefined. The cadre's role has to be redefined in this nation. You're live.
Good afternoon, sir.
A very good afternoon to you, sir.
Thank you. I will not mention my name.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. We have had cadres from way back in memorial. But the only difference at the moment is that we have no one on top to control the cadres. During the time of Lady Patrick Mwanawasa, we had cadres, but we never witnessed such levels of lawlessness. So this brings us back to the issue of a leadership. Once the person who is in charge stamps his authority, all this nonsense will stop. But at the moment, we are at the mess of the cadres because there's no one to take control. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The other thing that I would love to see do away with is this talk of commander. The use of the word commander, la commander, I don't like that. Cadres are not military personnel. Do not refer to them as commanders. That has to change. President Lungu needs to sit down with Minister of Home Affairs, Minister of Defense, and make it very clear to our citizens that an average citizen cannot don the title of commander. Let's start from there. The word, the name, the title commander should not be used by cadres. Hello, you're live.
Hello, Mr. Mowa.
Mkwai.
This is calling from Kawama.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I've been following your live broadcast, and now I say you're doing quite a commendable job.
Well, thank you,
and,
sir.
Please keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, getting back to this issue that Patrick started this morning, I really feel that is just so much breakdown in the rule of law, and if we do not really take responsibility as a country, and if our president does not take responsibility, then we are headed for them. Because I do remember the last time that you spoke about this particular Kalimanchi guy and how popular he has become and how he has become, if at all he's not came true to that, your words have actually come to fruition, and it's a sad state of reality.
Yes.
Yeah. I really would want to call upon each and every, Zambian to really come out strong and condemn this surgery, this cadreism, this violent, act by the ruling Patriotic Front. At all times, let us try as much as possible to, condemn any sort of violence, be it from the opposition, be it from the ruling party. Because after all, we don't have one country that we belong to. Which is
Only one. Only one. We don't have two or three. It's just this one.
Definitely. And having said that, these people that the powers that be have all the means to get away in case of anything. In case of anarchy, it is the poor Zambian, the ordinary common Zambian that will actually suffer the consequences of all this. So I call upon each and every Minister Zambian to condemn any sort of political violence, any sort of behavior that is going to turn our country into tumor. Because in the end, we love Zambia. This is the only country that we have. This is the only place that we know as our home. And I really don't know how our founding fathers of this nation are feeling right now, those that are gone, those that are alive, to see the country that they've actually worked so hard for, to get liberated from, colonialism, to just, become, that kind of a country which has, which is so lawless, because I'm pretty sure that it is really hurting them and they must be turning in their game.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you for your call.
Okay, thank you so much and keep up with the same good work tomorrow.
Bless you. Thank you. Great. Well, hey, guys, that's all we had time for today. Let me just switch this off so that we are on the same page, and then I'll give you my final remarks. Just a moment, guys. This is what happens when you have a one-man radio show. All right, here we go. Just a moment. Just a moment. There we go. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, my word to the leadership is don't gloss over this issue. Don't look at it, because I heard Wakambwili say he would like to facilitate a reconciliation between the two camps. That's not going to work. Wakambwili is not able to sort that thing out, unfortunately. We are fooling ourselves when we think that Wakambwili can sort that conflict out. That conflict, if not dealt with head on by Eagle One, the president of this republic, if that issue is not sorted out by him, it will do nothing but grow. You need to know that. You need to get that in your spirit. This issue that we witness today, the escalation of violence that we're witnessing in this nation, if Eagle One doesn't deal with it head on and grab it by the horns, it will get worse. It will escalate. Today, we're talking about people being beaten. Tomorrow, they will be killed. One Zambia, one nation. Love you guys. Peace.